Okay, so good evening and welcome to students who have signed up for Introduction to Aircraft Design. Shubhankar Chakravarti, you were waiting, but now I am live. I had another session before this from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And that's why there has been a slight delay. But now the session is on. And we would like to start our discussion for today. All right. So I'd like to have a confirmation about the visibility of the screen and also audibility of the voice. I hope my voice is audible and I am also visible. So we will start to meet the following agenda items. As you are aware, in this course or in all NPTEL courses of this type, you generally have 12 assignments, one every week to be submitted, out of which 8 assignments or the top 8 assignments are considered for the evaluation. All these 12 are graded. So even if you have missed a few of them because you started late or because you could not do for some reason, don't worry and don't panic. You still can make up by submitting the remaining assignments in time. So far, I am told that 8 assignments out of 12 have already been released, but 4 more assignments are remaining. Even if you have missed a few assignments, don't worry. You can submit the remaining assignments and still be able to sail through. But remember that you have to score certain minimum marks in assignments and certain minimum marks in the examination individually to be eligible for the certificate of the course. Okay, so therefore, my suggestion to you is that even if you have missed some assignments, don't worry. Continue participating in the course by submitting the remaining assignments. We will talk today about an interesting aspect as additional learning. Then I will repeat some information regarding the NPTEL internship, which I mentioned last time also. But I thought since every student does not register every time for the interaction session, I thought I'll repeat that. I'll talk to you about the questions from the assignment. I'll talk to you about the use of discussion forum. And then in the last interaction session on 17th of August, I spoke about the NACDeC 7 competition, which was at that time upcoming, but now it has already been launched. And then we will take some queries from you in the end if we have some time remaining. As part of my teaching in IIT Bombay, I give a lot of assignments to the student teams. I make teams of students and I give them some assignments. And one interesting assignment is called as the air crash investigation. In this assignment, we give some basic background and information regarding a particular air crash or incident that took place. And we request the teams to investigate by searching online for the crash investigation reports or information which can be trusted. draw their own conclusions and tell us about what happened, why it happened, and how it can be avoided in the future. So I've just borrowed some slides from one such assignment about the investigation of the 737 MAX crash aircraft belonging to Lion Air Flight 610. This crash was followed by another similar crash by the Ethiopian Airlines, and after that, the Boeing 737 MAX fleet was grounded all over the world, pending investigation and improvements. So we'll talk about that also. So Lion Air Flight 610 departed from the Indonesian city of Jakarta, and it was supposed to land at Depati Amir Airport in Pangkal Pinang. This aircraft was Boeing 737 MAX 8, a new improved version of Boeing 737. It was a scheduled passenger flight on 29th October 2018. The flight took off in the morning at 6:20 a.m. local time, and 13 minutes later, it crashed into the Java Sea. Let us see what happened and understand what were the causes. The information that I'm going to share with you has been drawn from the report of the National Transportation Safety Committee of Indonesia. Soon after takeoff, it was found that the indicated airspeed sensor, which, as you know, uses both dynamic pressure and static pressure, and the altimeter, which uses only static pressure, they disagreed. And the left control column stick started shaking. That means the control stick of the captain, the captain, started shaking. Now, when the control stick shakes, normally it is an impending stall warning for the pilot. It's a mechanism to ensure safety. And as the control column stick began shaking, which means the aircraft went to a very high angle of attack, a system called as MCAS, Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, which was a new system installed by Boeing in this particular aircraft model, it got activated, and which tried to bring the nose down. When an aircraft is approaching stall, the nose goes up. So, as the system felt that the aircraft nose is rising, it activated MCAS, which brought the nose down by adjusting the angle of the elevator. But the pilots knew that this is not the case. So they interrupted the MCAS by manual trim up inputs. Okay. Pilots have the option of deactivating the MCAS system by stick input. So the MCAS system continued to cause trim down, but the pilots continued to manually adjust it, and the crash investigation showed that this happened 26 times at least in the period of around 10 minutes, 12 minutes in which the aircraft was oscillating up and down. Okay, so after struggling with the control column so many times, after continuously creating manual trim, which was being overridden by MCAS system because it sensed that the angle has gone up. There was a continuous battle between the man and the machine, so to say. And finally, the aircraft crashed into the Java Sea, just about 34 kilometers off the coast at 6:33 a.m. Very tragic incident. Now, the investigation revealed that in the previous flight of this aircraft, which was from Denpasar to Jakarta, again there was a problem felt in maintaining a constant altitude. The passengers have said that the aircraft was in a roller coaster ride, up and down, up and down, up and down. The altimeter and the airfare indicator disagree message appeared, which was reported for maintenance. And the angle of attack disagree was 21 degrees difference. This was not reported. Okay. Somehow it was not reported, although there was a record that there was a disagreement in the angle of attack of the order of 21 degrees. Now we come to what is this MCAS system and how does it function? The MCAS system is, as I said, a new system, which was a new software-based system, which was introduced by the Boeing aircraft company when they created the 737 MAX version. It was a software update. And the aim of this particular system is to automatically bring the nose down by deflecting the horizontal stabilizer if high angle of attack is read or sensed by the sensor. But the fundamental mistake that was made is that the data for this particular MCAS system was taken only from one sensor located on one side of the aircraft, the starboard side, I think. Now, this is a serious problem because in general, whenever we take data to make decisions in any aircraft, we normally go for averaging of two independent sensors. We don't depend on just one sensor because that one sensor could be blocked or could be malfunctioning. So, in the previous design of MCAS system, now why was it required? It was required because on the same airframe of the 737, see, 737 is not a new aircraft. 737 MAX was a new version of the same aircraft, but 737 has been there for a long time. If I'm not wrong, it has been there since mid-60s or early 70s. And many versions of 737 have come in the market, Dash 100, Dash 200, Dash 300, then 400, 500, 600, then many others. And 737 MAX is one of the versions. So the basic structure of the aircraft is the same, but now we have larger engines, which are heavier engines. And these engines were mounted slightly farther away, okay, from the wing. Because of that, there was a tendency to go nose down. So therefore, to ensure that any automatic tendency of nose up is taken care by the software, the MCAS system was incorporated. Okay. So now the crash analysis showed that there was a miscalibration of the angle of attack sensor during maintenance, which was done after the previous flight. And because of the miscalculation of the previous of this one, it was giving an erroneous reading. It was giving a wrong reading. Now, because it gave a wrong reading, the MCAS system thought that the angle is changing. So it gave an automatic trim down command to the horizontal stabilizer, which brought the nose down on its own. So this is the problem. This is the reason why it was happening. So the primary reason is that the previous flight crew members did not report all the issues faced. For example, the issue of 21-degree angle of attack mismatch was not reported. Secondly, this MCAS system was introduced by the Boeing aircraft company as an inbuilt fix or a solution to the problem of changes in the pitching moment of the aircraft because of the installation of heavier engine. And though it was mentioned in the documentation, but it was mentioned in a very unclear fashion. It was not mentioned very explicitly. And interestingly, the Boeing company did not think it is necessary to train the pilots on the working of this system. They thought that this system will be taking care of the problem inherently. So there is no need to incur extra expenditure in training the pilots for this particular system. So the documentation also was not very, very specific. And also the pilots were not trained for the handling of the MCAS activation situation. So because of that, this whole incident happened. And the other fundamental flaw which emerged after investigation is that the MCAS was designed to rely on a single angle of attack sensor, which is not a good idea. Subsequently, they have redesigned this system to take the data from both the sensors or more sensors. Okay. So any miscalibration of the sensor, which is the sole sensor to give you the data, can lead to a problem. The other problem that emerged is that there was a lack of what is called as crew resource management, CRM, workload management in the high stress situation by the flight crew. So the flight crew were not able to handle the heavy workload. As I mentioned, the pilot had to manually intervene 26 times in about 10 minutes. This leads to a high workload, and then things are going wrong, warnings are coming. During that time, there should have been proper crew management, which was apparently found to be deficient. So, what are the lessons learned from this particular accident, and what are the recommendations for the future? First of all, there has to be proper training of pilots to handle multiple alerts. Maybe in the simulator itself, you should create those situations and train pilots to handle them. Secondly, the reporting system which reports the flaws and shortcomings in the previous flight should be made much more exhaustive so that errors like not reporting certain differences in the readings do not creep in. Then the flight manual should have clear-cut actions to be taken in emergency situations. In this case, for example, the pilots were not aware that if you switch off the autopilot and fly manual, you will probably not face this problem. But they were not aware of it. And of course, whenever there is a new system brought in, more and more simulations should be done to model the effect of specific failure situations. Okay. Then there have to be sensor calibrations and verifications very strictly done whenever we have, and we need to have supervision to implement. Now, what happened is, just after this, there was another crash of the same kind of aircraft, Boeing 737 MAX in Ethiopia, same problem. And because of that, all the aircraft in the world were grounded. And they remained grounded for a very long time till Boeing was able to grapple with this problem and come up with the solution. Even in India, 30 months it took. And all the aircraft of 737 MAX in India, they were on the ground for 30 months, which is a huge loss to the airlines. And I'm sure they would have demanded some kind of a compensation from Boeing for the inconvenience caused. Those of you who are interested in more information about this should locate and read the National Transportation Safety Committee report. You should look at NACDeC air crash investigation. You should look at Wikipedia. And there are some very good articles in some newspapers which talk about how competition between Airbus and Boeing sometimes leads to situations where the manufacturer tries to save on the training costs and bring a product in the market very quickly to face the competitive pressure. But things can also go haywire sometimes. Before we end, we should say our prayers for the innocent lives which were lost in both these crashes. It is in the recent times one of the most heartbreaking events in aviation. But accidents do happen in aviation. If we learn the lessons from the accidents and move ahead, then, that is what is needed. Okay, thanks a lot. And I'd like to now open up the floor for any doubts that you may have regarding this particular specific accident. Otherwise, we will proceed further with the remaining part of our interaction session. So I'll wait for a few minutes to see any questions in the chat window before I continue. Okay, so if there are no questions, I think we can proceed further. All right. Let's go ahead. This is something which I had shown you last time also, and I would like to repeat it. This is the important assignment, important information about the internships offered by NPTEL to the toppers of various courses. The internships vary from 2 weeks to 8 weeks, and these are paid internships. You get a stipend of rupees 2,500 if you do a 2-week internship, and you get a stipend of 10,000 rupees if you do a 8-week internship. Internships are offered by the course faculty to the toppers of the course. NPTEL approaches us for how many internships can we offer and what will be the duration. And based on our feedback, they give us the list of the toppers. And then we sometimes conduct an interview to speak to the toppers and find out what they would like to do. And then we offer internships. You need not relocate to the city where the instructor is living to do the internship. If it is mutually acceptable, we can also do these internships online. Because relocating to a new city is expensive and may not be possible for everyone. And also, it should also be mutually convenient. So the time when you are free, the course faculty may not be free, and vice versa. Right? So I would urge all of you to study hard, try to score good marks in the assignments for which you get a 1 week time. Also, study hard and prepare well for the final examination, appear in the examination. If you get a good score, if you are one of the toppers, you will be offered the chance of doing internships with the concerned faculty. You get a very good certificate when you complete the internship, and this certificate is verifiable by anybody because the details will also be available at the NPTEL website. So it becomes a proper verifiable record. It has your photograph and it has all the details regarding your internship. So I urge everyone to look for internships by scoring well in the courses. Now, the next agenda item was questions from the announcement, but I am sorry to say that the TA has reported that no questions were asked. This is happening perhaps for the first time, I don't know. But we cannot do much if you don't ask questions to us. So please remember that whenever you are asked to, fill in the Google form in the announcement email for live session, please write your queries in advance. If you give us advance information, it is possible for us to include some material in the interaction session to answer your question specifically. If you don't give us time, then we will only be responding to you. It will be a reactive response. But if you give us your query in advance, we might be able to bring some content about that answer in our presentation if time permits. So the earlier you ask, the earlier the TA can send it to me, and that gives me and other teachers more time to include the answers in the presentation. Discussion forum is a forum created for you. You can ask questions, you can ask queries, you can join a group there. And we request you to use this forum actively. So far, we have been told that the discussion forum is not being used very actively in this course. I don't know what is the reason. Maybe some of you can share on the screen what could be the reason. If it is something that we can try to improve, we will do. If not, then obviously we cannot do much about it. However, the course discussion forum is meant for you, not for us. If you use it, you will benefit more. If you don't use it, you are losing an opportunity to ask your queries or your questions. So I would urge everyone to please be active on the discussion forum and interact with us. I will now move on to NACDeC 7. I've already explained in the previous interaction session, so I'm repeating some information. NACDeC stands for National Aircraft Conceptual Design Competition. The 7th edition is just launched a few days ago. So there have been 6 successful NACDeCs previously. What are the aims of NACDeC? The aim of NACDeC is to encourage and nurture aerospace conceptual design activities in institutions because many institutes do not have a proper exposure to aerospace conceptual design, either because they don't have the concerned faculty who are experienced in these activities, or it is not considered to be as an important or a core subject in many institutes. So when you actually go to the industry, people expect you to have exposure to this area. And if you don't have, then you become less attractive to them in many ways. Another aim of NACDeC is to increase the interaction between experts and students. So we will bring experts from industry and academia for online sessions like this through Zoom meetings. We have a webinar every month, and we also create a dedicated WhatsApp group and an email account which can be used for asking any queries or clarifications regarding the competition. When you take part in NACDeC from start to end, you get a first-hand feel of how an aerospace system is designed. Because we will give you a problem statement and we will ask you to take it through the process of aircraft conceptual design till the end of the conceptual design process. So you will experience a complete design cycle from conceptualization to the conceptual design. And the bottom line is that we will increase your employability in the aerospace industry. Today, when we meet industry experts, they say that most of the engineers who come to us are of no use to us because they are not industry ready. They don't have any exposure to how the industry works, and they don't have any skill sets which the industry could use. So our aim is to make engineering students industry ready through taking part in this particular competition. How is it conducted? It is conducted mainly online. The two bodies which have come together to conduct the NACDeC competition right from the beginning are the design division and the Mumbai branch of the Aeronautical Society of India. By the way, this society was inaugurated by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru just after the independence in 1948. So therefore, this year is our 75th year celebration. In fact, one mega event is being planned in New Delhi on 18th and 19th of November. NACDeC is a competition that is open. There is no registration fees. It is open to teams of engineering college students. We are looking for maximum 5 members per team, but 2 of them have to be from aeronautical background, either undergraduate or postgraduate, but they should be from aerospace engineering department, 2 of them at least. Remaining up to 3 can be from anywhere else. We only allow 1 team per institution, and that is checked by the nomination given by the principal of the institute or the director of the institute or the head of department also. And we expect 1 faculty mentor to be associated, but we don't expect this faculty mentor to actually take part in the design exercise or be an active member of the team. We are going to consider the faculty mentor as only an administrative role to be played from the college side, because we will communicate to faculty mentors. Whenever student teams win prizes, the money is given to the account of faculty mentor, and then it is that person's job to distribute the money. There are 3 rounds conducted in NACDeC. The first is the initial concept report. Then we go to the midterm design report and final design report. And then based on the final design report, 5 teams are shortlisted for the final round, which is conducted in person in Bangalore. And we give the second AC train, travel fare and accommodation at Bangalore to all outstation team members. The prize money for NACDeC currently is listed as rupees 45,000, but we do sometimes get a boost in the prize money if some external agency joins hands. For example, last year, a company called Art Park based in IISc Bangalore, it's a Section 8 company, they pitched in 4.5 lakh rupees. So the prize money was increased by about 10 times. So every year we look for sponsors to join hands with us. So the prize money can go up from 45,000 rupees to more. Another important point is that all the teams which are reaching the stage of submission of the funnel design report and they actually submit the FDRs, those team members are given the certificate of participation, including the faculty mentor. So when we began NACDeC in 2017-18, we looked at a multi-role amphibian aircraft operating from Juhu Airport. After that, we had a high-altitude unmanned aerial vehicle for aerial mapping. Then we focused on a high-altitude platform for communications coverage. Then we looked at an intercity electrical vertical takeoff and landing air taxi aircraft, which was abbreviated as ICE VTOLA. And then NACDeC 5, we had water scooping amphibian aircraft for firefighting, an aircraft that would have tanks for storing chemicals to fight fire, or water tanks which can be filled by scooping water from lakes or oceans or rivers. It was called as WASAF. And then last year we had NACDeC 6, in which Art Park, SAE India joined hands. And this became called as the Design Challenge for Air Ambulance. So the idea of this project was to design an air ambulance, work out the costs, work out the operating profit, operating loss, and tell us about the scheme for implementing this crazy idea. NACDeC 7 has been launched, friends. And NACDeC 7, the theme is unmanned aerial vehicles for exploring on Mars. It's called as UAV-Me. UAV-Me is supposed to be used. Now, you still have time. Okay. You still have time. 5th October is the deadline for uploading the registration form signed by the head of the institution or head of department. Now, there is a question from Lily that their institute does not have aeronautical engineering department. Is there any alternative via which we could take part? So Lily, I'm really sorry. I can't help you with this because this competition has been funded by the Aeronautical Society of India, and they have insisted right from beginning that we should encourage aerospace engineers. Students of other colleges have many avenues of working in aerospace by making drones, flying them, etc. But this is more for teaching and learning aircraft conceptual design. That's why the competition is spread over 1 year. And this is a subject which is taught in many colleges. So we would like to see how that knowledge is applied by students to tackle a real life problem. So Lily, with all due respect and regards, unfortunately, you cannot take part in NACDeC unless you have at least 2 team members from your college who are with aerospace background. So right now, as per the rules, you will not be able to participate. So the UAV-Me that has to be designed is UAV for Mars exploration. The aim of this UAV is to map the boundary layer over Mars. The boundary layer of Mars is at the lowest surface of Mars, which varies from a height of ground level to about 6 kilometers max. But the conditions on Mars are very, very critical. So it is very difficult to design anything that can climb so high from the surface of Mars because of the extremely thin air density, which becomes thinner as we go up. So therefore, our problem statement, which is taken from ISRO, is to map the boundary layer only in the lowest 100 meters. So we would like to attempt an aerial surveillance application on Mars without using any rover. Nowadays, there is a rover fitted on the stomach or inside of another aircraft. Saptaparna Day has a question. Do we have any other alternative for people who are already graduated? I'm sorry. Once again, we don't have an option of opening this competition for students who have graduated. There are limitations in what we can do and how much we can handle. So currently, we are not opening this competition to students who have passed out. Okay. The detailed specifications of this competition are available on our website, www.nacdec.in. But these are some of the important summary points. Payload will be 5 kilograms. The all-up weight will be 70 kilograms. You would like to move from ground level to 100 meters many times in a day. And you will be required to use solar power to do this work. And so between the two flights, or from the sunrise time to the time you start flying, you will have to recharge the solar cells. So as I mentioned, for detailed problem statement, please refer to www.nacdec.in. And now we have about 12-13 minutes remaining. We would like to open up the floor for any queries that you may have, or any comments that you may have regarding the way course is being conducted, or any query regarding do you have any suggestions or any comments to make? If there is something interesting, we might be able to get it implemented through NPTEL. So the floor is open for any queries. Thank you so much. We'll just wait for some queries. So we are waiting for any queries from you. If there are no queries, then we are going to stop our session. If there are queries, we will try to discuss them. There are some queries. Let us just see. People who are graduated, can they still follow NACDeC for updates of the competition for knowledge purposes? Like, is there any way, as the topic is fascinating? So Saptaparna Day, what you can do is you can join our volunteer team and help us in conducting the competition if you have passed out. Plus, you can follow all the updates on NACDeC website, because we are going to provide all the webinars there. So as and when a webinar gets recorded, we normally upload it on YouTube channel and we give a link on our website, or sometimes we also copy that webinar on our website. So if you are interested, you can start working on the problem in the non-competitive mode, or you can help us by volunteering to conduct the competition. So if you are interested to take part, you can send an email to the course teaching assistant, and then he will put you in touch with me, and then we will get back to you. Or you can even send a direct email to me if you are interested to volunteer. Yeah, so you can send a direct email to me. Okay, so we are going to wait for exactly 1 more minute to see if there are any more questions or comments or queries. I know it's a late evening for most of you. Like you, I also would like to go back home quickly. Saptaparna, my email ID will be available by a simple Google search online. You don't have to ask my email ID. Just give a simple Google search for my name and you will get my email ID. Or you can go to the website of Aerospace Engineering Department, look for the list of faculty members and you will get my email from there. But Google search will be much faster. That is what people tell me. Saptaparna says, sorry for apologizing. No, there's no botheration. That is exactly why I'm sitting here. I have devoted this 1 hour for the students of this course. So there's nothing like bothering me or apologizing. In fact, it's good that you are at least participating in the discussion. There are so many others who are not participating at all. So that's fine. Okay, so I think there are no more questions. So I would like to say goodbye to everyone and stop this session.